Hi, my name is Matthew, working at H2O. Been working at H2O for 9 years now. And when I joined H2O at the very beginning to work sales with them, it was at the same time that Smartrek was going into the H2O family as a product that H2O would distribute. So Smartrek Technology is still a company on its own. It's a partner of us for the software part of this product. All the hardware is now, it's been like that for 6 years now, manufactured at H2O and designed. This is our own plastic case. I'll get into those details. But so anyways, so this is a product that now is very part of our product portfolio, and it takes a big place because, as you will see, it's an amazing product for sugar makers for sure that wants to just get better at finding leaks. Okay, let's get into that technology. Okay, first of all, how does that work? So all those sensors out there in the bush that has an antenna are sharing information with each other with a low frequency radio signal. So it's in the 900 megahertz, which makes it very reliable and going through trees and walls and buildings. And so obviously the more obstacle you'll go through, you're just going to shorten your distance between two nodes to be able to communicate. So it looks a little more like this. So all you see, all those blue little guys, they're all sensors, and it could be any type of sensors. Could be vacuum, could be this one here, could be a remote start to start and stop a pump remotely. This one could be a tank level. Anything, any product that we offer that has an antenna will share information. So for an example, this guy here is sending information to this one and this one every time, like every minute or so. But once in a while, this distance is right at the limit. But once in a while, when it's able to, it's going to share information with that sensor too. So it means that the more sensors you have in your bush, the stronger your network will be and your communication will be. Because if you look at that sensor, it has so many options. So if there's a problem, if there's one of those sensors just fall on the ground for some reason, well, it doesn't matter. This one will still have more options of communications. Okay, so that little green here, that's the tablet and the gateway. Okay, so that's what we call a starter kit. It comes with it when you get this system. But the point is that they're all sensors here out there in the bush. And let's say that this is a sugar house. So the most common installation, you'll have this gateway by the window, and this gateway will get the information from those two guys directly, and sometimes that one. And those two guys will share the information of all the other ones, right? So all the information every minute is refreshed. So let's say that I've got 20 sensors now, so let's say that every 5 seconds I'm getting a new information from one of these guys. So like 5 seconds ago, I got the information from this one. Now I'm getting the information of this one. In 5 seconds, I might get the information of that one through that link here. So the point is that you get to choose your refreshment rate, but it could be very fast. Let's say that you have that many sensors in your bush, so let's say like 15 main lines, and you pick the fastest speed, you could get a refreshment rate up to 15 seconds. So every 15 seconds, you'll get a refreshment of all your sensors. That's very fast, a little too fast to be honest. Could be for tank level, could be important for a very small tank that you monitor closely and you set an alarm on it. A refreshment rate every 10 minutes might be too long because that tank might overflow within 10 minutes. So refreshment rate is something important when you shop a monitoring system. So the communication between the gateway and the tablet, that's part of the kit, is a Bluetooth connection. So it's a stronger Bluetooth than your pickup truck. It's like a good 40 feet. So it means that the gateway is by the window, getting information from the sensors with its antenna, and I'm walking in my sugar house with a tablet, and I'm moving around. I've got about 40 feet distance. I can go through a wall as well. It's a strong Bluetooth. Now, this is where it gets exciting right here. if you do have Wi-Fi internet at the sugar house where the tablet is, well then we're just going to click a few check marks in the tablet setup, and it's suddenly going to share all this information with the cloud. So then every minute or so, the cloud will get updated with everything that's in the tablet. So then you can access that cloud with your cell phone, with a computer, a laptop at home, anywhere, from any type of device. This tablet is an Android Samsung tablet that we supply with the starter kit. And the reason why it's Android and not Apple, it's simple. In the Android world, it's very easy. I can send you right now by email an application, like an app, that I can send you by email, and you can install it on your cell phone right away. In an Apple iOS world, all those applications needs to go through the App Store, the official App Store. You can't get an app by email and install it in your iPhone. That being said, it makes for us it very difficult to do updates, because all those updates needs to be reviewed by the App Store. Takes sometimes a week. So if, let's say that it never happened so far, but let's say that the app would crash in the middle of the season. Well, we're going to issue a correction, an update right away. And we're going to send it to the App Store and then just wait until they approve it. Not going to happen. So this is why this is Android. But it doesn't really matter, because we supply that tool to you as a starter kit. And then if you have internet, well then this application, this information is going to be shared on the cloud. So then you can get it on your iPhone immediately. It's just like about a minute delay from the moment this tablet gets information from the sensor and you get it on your iPhone through internet, all right? Don't hesitate if you have any question, all right? Just stop me. So, the radio signal technology is by far the best to make system communicates in a bush. So, as you can see, the range is about 1,000 feet in between two of those sensors. Again, could be a tank level and a vacuum sensor, doesn't matter. They all have the same radio chip in it. So, about 1,000 feet in a normal sugar bush. So obviously, if it's really dirty and you have got some softwood, this number will decrease, probably to 800 feet or something. A big softwood area, maybe 500 feet, you know, because it makes it more difficult to travel for the signal. Line of sight, 5-6 miles, easy, 100% signal. So I've seen myself 5-6 miles. We have many customers that did amazing things with this. Some customer will put it up the neighbor's silo and then travel to the top of the mountain and then just get information from all the sensors of the other side of the mountain through that silo to them, because there's many ways to travel line of sight distance. So, and to get access to a remote bush, all right? Also, precision. That's also something that people don't really think when they shop around, but precision is very important when it comes to finding those micro leaks. So the first year you're going to get a system like this, you're going to just play firefighter, I call it. There's a fire, let's go fix it. There's another one, let's go there. So you're just going to use this to just go get the leaks as they come, and that's how you're going to get the most money out of it really quick. Now, eventually, you're going to want to go deeper. So you're going to want to put up charts. I'll show you an example later. But the point is that you need that accuracy to be able to find and spot those micro leaks that's going to happen in your sugar bush. Okay? So the hardware. I was telling you about the hardware. So H2O came up with this plastic case in 2018. As you can see, that's the third generation. Okay? So those were the first ones at the very beginning of Smartrek 10, 11 years ago, when they started to sell the system themselves. And then in 2014, 2013, when H2O jumped on board, we came up with a slightly different. But in both cases, it's just a generic plastic case that we would drill some holes and install our on-off switches on the side, you know, those little 5/16 ports at the bottom, and make it a product out of something that already exists on the market. That was the easiest and most convenient way to do it. That was not perfect, though, because sometimes that little seal on top would dry, and then some water would go in, and it was not perfect, right? It was a good product, not perfect. So we tried to came up with our own plastic case. So we own the molding, that design, and it was really designed for that application. So we made it so that the water can't go in there for no reason. The battery compartment, you used to remove those 4 screws and then get access to all the electronic. That's wrong. It's a product. You shouldn't see the electronic or be able to damage it by mistake. So now the battery compartment is in the back, just like a kid's toy. You've got some grooves, and you've got 3 batteries in it. I need air. 3D batteries, those big ones, you've got 3 of them in there. And a good average, conservative, is 2-3 seasons for sure with your batteries. If you're really crazy about battery consumption, again, you can choose to change the speed of the refreshment rate anytime you want. So at night, you can slow it down, and then in the morning, when it starts to run again, you can put it in fast mode. So then you're going to be able to manage your battery consumption. So then you might go to 4 and 5 seasons with a set of batteries, okay? So the battery consumption has everything to do with the spider mesh technology that we're using for the radio signal. And that's a property of Smartrek technology, and that's one of the reasons why it doesn't demand a lot of power. So that's why you don't see any solar panel or extra hardware needed, because let's not go there. If you're going to do 3-4 seasons with batteries, there's no need to look for any ways to reduce that again. So yeah, antenna is protected. It's stronger than before. As for should we leave them outside all year long? This is questionable. I always say the same to everybody, so this is up to you. The warranty on those is the same, and if you leave them out or if you take them in at the end of the season, it doesn't matter. We're still going to warranty your product. But it's just that if you leave them out 4 months every year or 12 months every year, it will get older faster. It will, because what's making them wear, that's not sending information, right? It doesn't wear a system like this. The UV, the weather, that's what get them, that plastic eventually is going to get older faster. So, and we, since 2018 with that design, we're starting to see some small defectives coming back to be fixed, and we see a lot more from the guys that leave them out all year long. The producers that take them in, clean them, check the battery level, store them, inside for the off season, they have a way better success with defectiveness, hardly nothing. So it does make a difference. But I know there's labor involved and all, so what's that?
Could be they don't find a new home.
Could be. Okay, multiple port sensors. So you're looking at a triple here. I have a single here. So, why? Why would you go singles, doubles, triples? Why we came up with triples too? Because at the very beginning, it was only singles and doubles. Well, it's less initial investment, right? Because you only get to buy one product, and it's going to cover 3 main lines. And be reassured that inside you've got 3 little hosts connected to 3 vacuum chips. So they all read separately. They all read separate information, right? So it's just like as precise as if it was 3 single ports. It's just that you have 1 plastic case, 1 antenna, 1 set of batteries. So obviously, save batteries, less maintenance for the batteries and all. Save batteries. Why save batteries there? Because the more sensors you have, the more communication options those sensors will have, and the more batteries they will demand. So when somebody calls me and is like, okay, well, what's the battery consumption of a system like this? I was like, yeah, roughly 2-3 years, but if you want, I can be more precise. But if you have 100 sensors, and if you have 20 sensors, it's not going to be the same battery consumption. It's going to have a little difference. So the more sensors you have, the more battery consumption. More importantly, the refreshment rate. So the way it works in the tablet is that I've got a whole list of sensors, not ports. So sensors. So I've got a single, a double, a triple, a triple, a double, a double. So I've got sensors like this, and the application will refresh one after the other one like a list. And once it's done the list, it's going to start back up to refresh them again. Well, it takes the same time to refresh a triple and a single. So it's just information, right? It's not that heavy. So refreshing one reading, one vacuum number, or 3 vacuum numbers at the same time. So my point is that if I have 90 main lines, I get to choose between 30 triple or 90 singles, where the refreshment rate is going to be 3 times faster on the triples because I only have 30 sensors to refresh, and then I'm back up already. The other one, I'll have to refresh 90. So those are only, there's only good things about those triples and doubles. The only bad thing is that you'll have more tubing up there. So that's the thing that, some producers will not like a lot, but still, more tubing, a little more tubing. Because if you use doubles and triples, you'll have to go and reach out the end of the main lines. The way to install them, it's pretty easy. You're just going to use a saddle right at the end of the main line by the ball valve, because you really want to read the end of the main line. Those are all different hardwares that we have. We've been talking about the vacuum sensors a lot. The tank level sensors are ultrasound. So the way they work, you just put it right on top of the tank, right in the middle, and then we just calibrate the zero. So in the tablet, you just calibrate the zero. If the tank is empty, ideally, well, it's going to send an ultrasound. It's going to hit the bottom of the tank. The ultrasound will come back, and the sensor will take that measurement, and then it's going to say, all right, you've got 0 inches of sap, good to go. That's it. So it takes like 10 seconds to set up, and it's good to go. And as this distance will be shortened because the sap level will go higher and higher, every time it sends an ultrasound and comes back, that measurement, let's say, was 60 inches at the beginning. Well, now it's going to be 58, right? So then it's going to tell you, OK, you've got 2 inches of sap in that tank. So it's going to always tell you in real time how many saps you have in your tanks. And you can set up alarms. I'll get that later. The ultrasound, as you can see, that little cone right there, it really is in a cone shape. So the ultrasound reading goes a little wider as it goes away. So for that reason, this is not suitable for silos or for horizontal tank or for tanks that are higher than wider. So we've got what we call piezometers for that reason. This is a probe at the end of a 30 feet wire plugged to the sensor. So you just put at the bottom of the silo or the tank, and it's going to measure the pressure, the feet of head. So the more sap you have, the more pressure it's going to put on that pressure transmitter, and it converts pressure in inches of liquid with a calculation. So that's more industrial. It's more expensive, but it's more industrial stuff, and it works in any type of tanks. So when the ultrasound is not suitable because it's not an open sap tank like we have in the industry, well, the piezometer solved that problem. Repeaters to go to, you have a long distance and you have no main lines to monitor. Let's say you have, 3,000 feet between the building and the first end of main line. So you still need to travel that distance. The repeater is exactly for that. It solves that problem. It's cheaper than a vacuum sensor because it doesn't read vacuum. It just repeats information. So it's one of those 2 blue little person that we had before, but it doesn't read anything. It's just part of the network. My customer that puts that up the silo, it was a repeater. It was not a vacuum sensor up there. It was a repeater of the silo. The remote control, you can start and stop electrical stuff, like a pump. You can move a valve remotely. So really is a remote control. So again, it's one of those little blue person I had earlier. One of them could be a remote control. So in the tablet, you just have on-off switches. You flip the switch in your tablet, switch comes on, and then at the very end of your bush or wherever this is, this one gets the signal because it travels through all the sensors, and then it's just turned on the pump. So that's really easy to install again. And the electrical is not that complicated. All you need is a little 24-volt relay that's going to be installed right beside the contactor, and it's just going to trigger the contactor to turn on the 10 horsepower pump. The portable gateway. So I've told you that if you have internet access at the sugar house, well then the tablet will share it on the cloud. So on your cell phone, you'll have the information. So if you're in your bush and you have cell phone coverage and you have Wi-Fi at the sugar house, well then you can just grab your phone anytime, fix leaks, and grab the phone and see if the vacuum is going back up, right? Because it's almost instant, right? Every minute. So by the time you get your tools back in your bag, you're just going to look at the vacuum. Okay, that was it. I think I found the leak. Vacuum is going back up, so I'm good to go. You kind of want the information in the bush. That's the key, right? If you want to be efficient, you don't want to walk back to the sugar house every time to look at the tablet and see if it has worked, right? So what if you don't have internet access at the sugar house? Or you don't have cell phone coverage in your bush? Portable gateway. So remember the gateway that's at the sugar house communicates with Bluetooth with the tablet? Well, that's what we call the starter kit. Well, that's another starter kit, but that's portable. So it means that you get that guy, which is also a gateway. So the gateway, remember, talks with directly with the sensor, with its antenna, and then share the information by Bluetooth with an Android cell phone. So you can get just a broken screen, $50 used cell phone. You don't put a plan on it, right? Because you don't need it. All you need is the Bluetooth enable function, because this is going to be paired with this guy and good to go, right? You're going to get information directly. If you're in your bush, you've got sensors nearby. So the sensors, this gateway will get the information and shoot it to your cell phone that you have in your hand. Real time this time. Not going through internet, right? Real time, okay? But if you do have internet at the sugar house, or you can get it easily, and you have cell phone coverage, don't get that. Just go through internet, right? It's just going to take a minute longer for you to have the information, but this is only going to work in your sugar bush, in your sensors network. Well, your cell phone is going to work from home or from the hardware store. So I would say don't buy that. Go get internet instead. So the software, okay. The Android tablet that comes with the kit already have the Smartrek app. We use that to scan new nodes, so to add new sensors to your application, to your group of sensors in the tablet. And if any modification in the forest, change the name of them. GPS location, automation. Automation is kind of cool too. So I've told you that we take a whole bunch of readings, right? Vacuum, pressure, tank levels. So the system reads all that. And also, I've told you that we can do actions. We can start pumps, right? And we can stop pumps. We can turn a valve, open a valve, close a valve. Well, what if this all, can do automatically? So let's say, okay, when we get to that temperature, or when it starts to freeze, drain the pump line, and deactivate the pump. So make sure the pump does not start. So cut the feed from the flow to the pump, just deactivate that, and open the valve. And then in the morning, just the other way. When the tank reaches that level, start the transfer pump. So when that happens, please do that. So this is just a consequence, what we call the puzzle. So we have already many puzzles. All we need is to install it in the tablet and then just program a little thing that, we can help you with that. And it's very easy to do some consequence actions. Okay? So that's automation. We put that in the tablet. The other software is the web page that you're going to use with a cell phone, a laptop, a laptop connected to a TV screen in the sugar house. That's all the web page. So the web page, you just open up a browser. You go on your cell phone, just open up a Google Chrome or a Safari page, and you log yourself in your account. So then you have the differential page, I'll show you later. You have a station page, mainline layout on your map, so you can easily walk your main line and draw them on an application, export that file, and put it on there so you can see your actual main lines colored the way you want it, and TV screen on the sugar house. Differential page, what's that? So 4 years ago, a customer told us, hey guys, you should find a way to sort those sensors by differentials. So the goal here is that we don't really care what's the vacuum level at the end of the main line. What we want to know is what we're losing on that main line. How big is that leak? So for that, you need to know what's the target value. So one of those sensors needs to be installed on the extractor. So then you know what you're aiming for at the end, right? So let's say that you've got 26.5 at the extractor. Well, you're not going to see 27 at the end of the main line. What you're looking for is 26.5. So then you have your reference value, and then you've got all your main lines connected to these extractors. That's what we call the differential. And what we're going to look at on the TV screen is not 26.5, 26.5, 26.4. That's not what we want to look for. What we want to look for is minus 0.1, minus 1, minus, we want to see the minus, the difference, the leaks, all right? What we're losing here on every main line. So the system will calculate that difference and will show that to you, and then you can sort it by the worst. So then the worst leak, all right? And it's true for every station. If you have a station that's pumping 26.5, but you have another bush, you have an older pump that's only pumping to 24. Well, then you're not aiming for 26.5 at the other bush. You're pumping at 24. But the difference is still the same. You want them to be sorted by the difference between the end and the beginning. So 1 inch of mercury leak, it's 1 inch of mercury leak at both bushes, right? So that's what it looks like. So, you're getting the reading at the extractor, okay, station 1. So that's a single port sensor that's connected with a 516 right on the extractor. So that tells me that I'm at 28.5 at my extractor. And what you see here is the difference. So I have a huge leak here, and then, and I've got colors. And they're sorted by the worst to the best. That's almost perfection right here. So those colors, you get to decide what they mean for you. So in this case, it's clear that between perfection and 1.5 inches of mercury leak size, the customer wants that in green. Good for him. From 1.5 to 2.5, yellow. And then any leak that's bigger than 2.5 inches of mercury, he wants that in red. So you've got one station right here with, 10 main lines? So you can organize all your main lines by stations, by extractors. Even if you've got one vacuum pump and 2 extractors, I would recommend you create 2 groups. So 1 group for each extractor, basically. What it looks like? Well, it looks like this. So on a big TV screen, you can see a lot of those stations. Now we can't look at the number here because it's too small, but this is a 60-inch TV, and I'm telling you, you can read those numbers really good from 6 feet away from the TV. So my point is that you don't want to be sitting in front of a computer and scrolling down and looking for problems. That's time-consuming. And if you have employees working leaks because your operation is larger, well, you certainly don't want those employees to be wasting time sitting in front of a computer at the sugar house. You want them to be out there chasing leaks. But this information is critical, and it needs to be accessed easily and quickly. So even if you're accessing this page with a cell phone, well, you see this is a group, and then there's another one, a tiny one here, another one, another one. So those groups are just going to be aligned. So you're just going to scroll down on your cell phone until you find the group where you are, the sector of the bush, the station that you're working on. So 475 main lines, you're not going to see any other system out there that is able to show you more than like 50 main lines on a TV screen. I haven't seen it anyway, so that's cool. So that was our goal. Our goal was to be able to present for larger producer all the main line right there. And then the colors means that you know exactly where to go and when. And you can call up your guys and say, guys, have you seen that main line? You're boiling, but you can keep an eye, and those colors are quick information. So I was telling you about the automation. Perfect on time. So start, stop, right? You can control vacuum pumps with temperature. So operate valves, drain the lines, and program a timer when pump is turned on and off. So also this is a very limitless potential. Anything you might want to try or the system will do it for you. We just have to come up with this little puzzle according to your needs, and it's going to work. We have a lot of YouTube videos, and you'll see we're just going to keep adding them on how to do this, how to set up this, how to create yourself a differential. It's there. It's on YouTube. Right? It's like an 8-minute video that shows you how to create a group like this on your web app. So we're trying to do more and more videos because that's the way to go and keep this information updated and available all the time for our customers. I've told you about the starter kits. So you can buy bundles, and those are really at an aggressive price. So to make sure that people can get into monitoring at a cheap price. So if you're just, we've talked a lot about those differentials, and now, well, this is more for people that are after a leak detection tool. Well, some people will get that system not for that purpose, just to keep an eye on a station that's 12 miles away, right? So that's a different need. So one of those small kits will work, right? You've got a tank level, one vacuum sensor, and a starter kit. So you just put that in the station 20 miles away, get internet to that tablet, and you have in real time, you know what's the SAP tank status, and the vacuum you have vacuum or not at the extractor. So the most critical information, right? That's interesting. Let's talk about the future a little bit of the monitoring. Where is it going? So the artificial intelligence is something that's really growing, something that we're exploring, and we're starting to invest in it. So a little story about, I used to have a Grand Cherokee, right? And suddenly, for no reason, when the temperature was getting cold, it had a hard time to start. Starting problem. But just when it was like a little cold. So like sometimes I would hit the push button start. It will go through the cycle of cranking. It would never start. I'll have to do like 3 times and eventually it'll start. So, weird. Bring it to my garage, and then first thing he does, he asks me about my symptoms, and then he sits down in front of his computer and he's typing it in, right? The year, model, symptoms, right? So then he ended up with like, okay, you've got 92 person that has the same symptoms as you. And then, I can see that 81 of them solved it by the fuel pump relay, and then 9 of them changed the fuel pump. And then 1 of them replaced the vehicle. That's what I did. So, but that's what it is, right? That's artificial intelligence. That's a whole bunch of symptoms, okay, that are computerized, all right, and then result of what was the problem. So then that when those symptoms happen again, there's that many chances that your problem is right there. That's what it is, right? So it's just common information of what's going on, and then giving possible results, okay? So if you take that and you bring it into our application, what we're doing. So we are, every vacuum sensors is also reading the temperature, right? So inside this, there's an ambient temperature little probe. So we know the temperature, we know the vacuum level. The computer knows the weather, right? Chances of rain, wind. The computer knows all that. All we need is to just connect our system to any weather channel web page, and then it's going to feed in our intelligence. So we know all that, right? And what if we could know CFMs, right? So the CFMs that goes through every main line. So the amount of air that is moving in the main line, that would indicate something cool about the leak, right? We know the vacuum difference at the beginning and the end, but what if we know the amount of air that's going in? That's going to give us one more information. What if we know all that? All right, we know all that. So like the producer, let's say that the producer has to feed the system. Like, okay, this main line number 1 is like, 1,000 feet long, and part of it, like 800 feet of it, is 1.25 inches, and the other one, the rest is 1 inch. And I've got a saddle at, feet number 18 that got 8 trees. Saddle, at feet number 29, and it's got like 9 trees. So what if you feed all this information in? And then every time every time you have a leak, or every time you find a problem, you feed this information in the system. Okay, I had a leak at, saddle number 9, fixed it on that main line. So what if everybody does that? What do you think is going to happen real quick? Well, then eventually, the system will see all those symptoms. It'll see the difference in vacuum, the CFMs moving in, temperature, weather outside. It'll take everything, and then it'll say, okay, your problem is on saddle number 8. 92% of the chance that your leak is on saddle number 8 on main number 2. Right? And good chances are that's where your problem is. So this is very not far from now. All right? This is going to happen because artificial intelligence. So we just need us as a manufacturer, we need to come up with an easier solution for you to feed that information in. So if everybody feed the information, then we have common knowledge, then we can have potential answers to the problems really precisely. Cool? Am I dreaming or am I crazy? I really believe it's going to happen. Anyway, we're going to do our best so it happens. We have other products in the Smartrek industry. Well, the same system does apply for other industries a lot. So the agri-food products. So we have, a couple years ago, we started to expand our Smartrek offering to other industries. And the cranberry fields are a very good example. We have a whole bunch of them in Quebec. Wisconsin is a big producer too for cranberries. So this is not far from what we're doing in the maple industry. This is reading temperature right at the plant. Tension in the topsoil. So we have all different kinds of sensors, but essentially it's about the same offering, right? They have the same needs. So, most experienced monitoring system in, more than 10 years experience. It's easy to install by the producer or by us, okay? We do support the installation. We usually go out there and deliver the system and walk you through the steps of installing it, going out there in the bush with a couple sensors, showing you how. But seriously, it's so easy to install it. You can do it with your kids in a day. And we've installed, me and my friend, we've installed, I think it was 45 sensor, not main lines, sensors installation. We deployed all that in 6 hours. It was all done, set up, web page, customer had all in this computer and all. So it can be really fast if you know where you're going. So we can assist you to start it, and then you get the rest going pretty easily. So yes, all those things I've told you about. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you, because I've connected my computer to a live operation. Right now in Quebec, somebody's still making syrup, and I've connected to their web page. So, oops, what's going on? So searching. Hold on. Detect. So what you're looking at is the web page I was telling you about. So this customer has a tablet at the sugar house that shares information with the cloud. So what you're looking at is hold on, am I all good here? Yeah, okay, English, cool. So you've got the menu on the left-hand side, and then you've got all the nodes and then the node list. So what you're looking at is the node list. It looks a lot like the tablet. So you can see that you've got single port sensor, double port sensor, right? So the little port on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So, this is the main pompage and then chemin. So that's 2 different names, 2 different vacuum readings, all right? So that's probably 2 mains. Rue de la Jungle, that's funny names anyway. So you can just name them line 1 and line 2 if you prefer. Some people would be really creative in names. I saw a customer one day, it was like Vanessa and Anita and all those chicks' names. I thought it was funny. So the guys would call the main lines like ladies' name. That was very good. So, and hey, you can also see that this guy's got 2 gateways. So he's got 2 different starter kits, so 2 tablets, 2 different locations, sharing on the same cloud. So we see them all. So that's why I have 2 groups of vacuum sensors. Those are not differentials. Those are just vacuum sensors from 2 different tablets. All right? So that's why you've got that little 2 and that little 1 here. So, all right. So that's just the main page. So you can see also the tank levels. You can see that the 1,000-gallon tank has 12 inches out of 31. So that's 39%. Okay, so that's a small tank. That's 39% full. Okay. So let's say that I want to go see the differential page. So node, analytics, and differential. Okay, so those are groups. Those are actual real differential. And you can see this is a good example because now that we know it's two different locations, it's obviously two different vacuum pumps. Because this one's getting at 27.21 and 23 here and 25 here. So we're looking at 3 vacuum pumps, 3 extractors, 3 group of sensors. It's all green though, except that guy. So see, his thresholds are different. Over 1 inch of mercury leak, he decided that he wanted that in yellow. You can sort by the worst. He did not, okay, because you see them all. It's not a huge deal. But if you have 35 of those, you might want to see the 10 worst. So sorting by the color might be a great idea, but he didn't bother. But you just click here and sort and by, done. You see battery levels. So what you see is the difference. And this, so you can see pressure 1, pressure 2, and pressure 3. When you create those differentials, you get to choose the name. So you pick a triple port sensor, and you choose pressure 1, and then C4C1, 4C2, and 4D. Well, this customer should have changed the name. This one would be 4C1, because that's pressure 1. That's the left 5/16 port. This one, pressure 2, would be 4C2, should be the name, and 4D should be the name. So 4C1, 4C2, and 4D should be those names. He didn't change them, so by default, it looks like this. I don't like it, but it's just to show you this is not, I didn't do it, right? Customers did that. So he needs a little more training. He needs that information. I just don't know where it is. Anyways, so that's the differential you're looking at. So it's good information, quick information. One last thing I want to show you here. I'm going back to the list of all the sensors. And I'm just going to go see the Dompeur cabane. So that one here, I'm just going to hit details. I want to know more about this sensor. Scroll down. So immediately, what I'm seeing is the graphic of the last 2 hours. Let's make it 24 hours. So this is the last 24 hours, what happens with that sensor. So I'm quickly getting access to the last 24 hours, so April 21 to April 22. So the last hour, that's how it went. And if I look at the data, at the bottom, you're getting the date and the time of the reading. So those are all dots. So this is April 22nd, 15, so that's so that's a minute, that's almost 4 o'clock. And the next dot, that's 4 o'clock and 1 minute. So you can see that the refreshment rate is every minute. So that's why you have such a precise curve. Now, why would an extractor go from 26.8 to 27.2 every 5 minutes? Anybody knows why? It's a mechanical extractor. If it would be electrical with a pump in it, it would be a straight line. We all agree on that? There's no reason why the vacuum is moving when the pump is just pumping it out. So you see that it has an effect on your average vacuum. Your average vacuum should be 27.2 on the extractor. On the main line, then it's something else, right? You've got leaks on the main lines. But on the extractor, it should be a straight line right here. So then your average would be here. Now the average is here. And the more you dump, the average is here. So the extractor does affect the average of vacuum. The average of vacuum affects the yield directly. So you know that now that you need a new extractor. Eventually. Are we selling extractor? Oh yeah, we are. Oh no, let's focus. Sensors, all right, sorry. So, okay, and there's another way. If you have a little more time at the end of the season, I'm going back to the nodes, node list. You can take one of those sensors, let's take the same one. You put a check mark here, and then you just go up there, and then you ask for the chart, and then you can choose the whole month or the whole season if you want to. And then you ask for that quote. Now it's going to take a little more than 10 seconds, but still, I'm going to get the chart for that sensor for a whole month. So I'm seeing 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. All right? So I can see that now the scale is from 0 to 27. That's the scale right now. So I can see every time the pump has been started and stopped. And so you can know. So you know there's always up and downs. Those are probably days and nights, right? Or big runs. And so you can analyze your tubing network. So you can, yes, you can play firefighter, just, getting to the leaks and fixing them. But once you get into this, then you can start to understand that your tubing network is not perfect the way you thought it was. And then you can start making changes that are going to have the fastest payback because you know exactly, what you're missing here, all right? So having a monitoring system will also help you to improve your tubing network. Not only chase leaks, improve your tubing network. A customer the other day, on a big day, okay, the big day on the main lines, all the main lines, they started up like at 26 inches of mercury. Start the pump, all the main lines will go up there. But eventually in the middle of the day, they will all go down to 22, 20, 21, 20, and then eventually go back up at the end of the day because you have the time. So could anybody tell me what it could be on the main line? Having a tendency to go down in the middle of the day and go back up?
Undersized pump.
Undersized main line. It was full of sap in the middle of the day. So when the sap was flowing really good, it would fill that main line. So that main line needs to be never full, right? Because you need that air section to be able to reach the last saddle and have a great vacuum at the last saddle too. If you're full of sap, you're not able to reach that last saddle with your air because it's full of sap going down by gravity to you. So you're losing vacuum at the end of that main line. So that main line has too many trees or it's a little too small. So you know that your average for that day, and that day was important because it was flowing so much that it filled the main line. So that's those days that you want to have the highest vacuum at every saddle. So you know that if you do some changes here during the summer, you know that it will pay off really quick next season. But there's no way to know what's going on without those sensors. So, and that day, you saw that it was like 23 in the middle of the day, right? You saw the 23 inches of mercury. So you went out there and you chased that leak. Couldn't find anything. It was like, oh, okay, well, that's what it is, right? No, it's because you have a different problem. All right? So that's why it's not only about chasing leak. It's about understanding those things that makes it a little more profitable and fast payback for you. Any question?
What are your plans for encryption from Bluetooth to Wi-Fi?
From going, Bluetooth to Wi-Fi? And
Do you have any encryption or do you have any plans to encrypt?
so you mean the tablet sharing information to the cloud?
Yes.
Okay, so we used to, if I go back 2-3 years, it used to be a Google Drive cloud service, which was free. All you need is a Gmail account. So you create a Gmail account, which is also free, and then you have a certain amount of data that you can use. We would never go over that amount. But what happened is that during a season, 2 years ago during a season, Google, for some reason, decided to do an audit on what we were using for data and all. So we've lost a few hours of connection. Not cool. We write to Google, call them. They just don't care, right? We're so small that, Google just never answered and never helped. So that was a not comfortable situation. So we decided, starting last year, to move that all. So all the tablets would not share on the Google Cloud service free anymore, but they will share with a private server that we're paying for. So that's more secure first, and then you can still connect with any email account and a password that you can change whenever you want. So it's now connected to our server, and we control that server. So when there's a problem, one good thing about H2O is that it's a pretty big organization now, and we have a IT department. So whenever there's a problem, we can just get our 5 IT full-time H2 employees to jump on it because it's an emergency, because our business is critical during the season. So now we're able to control, and it won't happen again. And that year was way better, flawless for connections.
Okay, that's data housing, but what about data encryption?
I'll have to ask, okay, because I don't know exactly the answer. It's never been asked to me before, and so far, our customers don't need those data to be really, secure like crazy. This is not like a bank account, right? This is vacuum information.
I don't know, but hackers love to hack.
Yeah. Well, it's they're more than welcome to hack our level, amount of sap in our tanks. But if it's critical for you, well, I'll ask if it's possible to get some encryption. The way I see it is it would be one step into being a little more complicated for all of our customers, maybe for no reason for most of them. But I'm sure there's a way to get that information secured if there's a need for certain customers, I'm sure. Okay? So maybe if you want, after, you can come to me and leave me your name and information, and I will get back to you about this for sure. Okay? I'm sure there's a way, and an easy way, to encrypt your information for sure. It's got to be easy. Any other questions? Cool. Yes?
Is there a service fee associated with that setup? Like monthly or bi-seasonal?
Everything I've showed you about getting access to the graphic and the differential, so far it's included. We are working into going deeper in that analysis, like the artificial intelligence I told you about. Well, once that's going to be available, we'll probably have to go through a monthly plan that goes with it, yes, because it gets very expensive for us at that point. But what you saw today, it's all included. So the only monthly plan you need to worry about is your internet.
Included with the hardware?
Yes, right now it's included with the hardware. But yeah, and the internet monthly plan you need, so the tablet, to share information every minute on the cloud, usually you get around 2 gigabytes a month plan. So if you get like a 3 gigabytes a month plan, the tablet will always have, you're not going to exceed that with just the tablet sharing it to the cloud. And we're talking here probably $40 a month or something. And then after the season, you can end that plan. So it's worth it. That's my point. Okay? All this equipment is on sale right now during the weekend. So if you're interested in getting into it, in those smaller kits, I can help you with the quote, and we can find your dealer, and we can, work on a quote for you together. Right? Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.